the Leafs lines look a little bit scary, close to what we think they might look like in the regular season. This is Kyle Cushman potentially, putting the lines out there. This is what was practiced today. Nyes, Matthews, Marner, which we expect.
Yes.
Domi, Nylander, Yarncroke, which we expect.
Yes.
Pacioretty, Tavares, Grabenkin. Grabenkin, we're going to come back to.
I don't think any combination of those guys skated together.
Well, and then Cowan, Quillen, Reeves. On the back end, we've got Riley Tanev, OEL McCabe, Weber Liljegren, and Noah Chadwick will dress as well, along with Joe Woll and Matt Murray, not Anthony Stolarz. And then on the Senators side, I just want to read you out this lineup because the Senators are really treating this like preseason and the Leafs are not.
This happens every preseason, though. It's the next game, the Sens will have a juiced lineup,
Totally.
and the Leafs will be...
And that's fine.
Who are these people?
Crookshank, Pinto, Batherson, Noah Gregor.
Hey!
Halliday, Amadio, another former Leaf. Kuhlman, Gaudette, another former Leaf. Two former
Holy,
Leafs. Gaudette
that's
was
four.
McEwen, I think, wasn't he too?
No.
Yes.
You know what? Screw it. For the bit, yes.
Reinhardt, Jenik, Bourgault, and then Pettersson. And then...
Jenik?
Sorry?
How Alan Walsh would roll over if he
Yannick.
heard you say that.
Yannick. He's unique.
Jan Yannick?
Yeah, that's right. He's unique. Unique. And then we got Hot Sambacho.
That was a noted mispronunciation.
Is this Yakimchuk? Is that how you pronounce it? Yakimchuk?
Yakimchuk.
Tyler Clevin, Artem Zub, Donovan Sabrango, and Max Gwinnett. And then obviously, who's seen Mad Sogard in a game before?
I've seen Mad Sogard in a game.
What game did you see Mad Sogard in?
Oh, I don't remember the exact game.
Why not?
He's an up-and-coming goalie. I thought you were going to make a bigger deal of a potentially 45-year-old Dustin Tokarski.
I can't believe he's still playing.
He is the most journeyman of journeymen. Like, good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, I mean, hey, man, keep going. Keep playing.
He played playoff games for Montreal in 2014.
And Adam,
he's still here.
In the 22-23 season, Sogard made 23-ish starts for the Ottawa Senators.
Oh.
Or nearly 20 starts for the Senators.
I'm sorry, I wasn't watching that closely that year.
He played games.
Well, yeah, they made themselves difficult to watch after Christmas.
Yeah, but still.
So, unless they were playing the Leafs and beating them.
Yeah,
more likely than not,
they were
beating
terrible.
them.
They were great. They were all-stars against the Leafs. It was crazy.
This is the dumbest thing.
Sogard played 19 games, had a .889 save percentage,
Motto.
8 wins, 6 losses, 3 ties.
Wow, he had a winning record.
Yep.
Good for him.
With an 889.
Hey,
he might go for the cup.
Martin Jones did that for years.
Winning record with that. Yeah.
Where is Martin Jones this year? Has anybody checked in on Martin Jones?
I don't think he has his deal.
No?
No. Which is odd because he was fine.
Yeah, I liked him last
He was
year.
totally fine.
I was thinking about that when I was prepping for our season previews, and I'm like, I wonder where Martin Jones went anyway. Now, a couple of changes at camp, a couple of things that I wanted to hit at camp. Now, we talked about this a little bit last night on our live show, but in case you missed that, there is always a player that we as a fan base fall in love with, whether or not they become the superstar right away. Fraser Minton looks so good, and then they played the first 9 games with him, and he looked so. Yeah.
It was like 3 or 4 games.
And he's like 18. It's okay.
It's fine.
It's fine. We're not upset about it, but I think Nikita Grabenkin is your early season fit for that. Here's what Craig Berube, who's not big on praise publicly, said. He's big. He's strong. I was impressed with him. It was a tough practice, but his pace didn't drop off. He's big. And again, he repeated this. Big, strong kid, powerful skater. There's some good stuff there. I love his size. Now, what's interesting about him is his pick. The pick that got him, according to Kevin Papetti, was the pick that the Leafs got for Travis Dermott. Isn't that crazy?
Really?
Yeah. So I'm gonna pull this up. I just wondered if you remembered this.
I thought Dermott they got a 5th rounder from Vancouver, and Grabenkin was a 3rd rounder from Vancouver. And Grabenkin
the Leafs took Hildeby towards the end of the 4th round in 2022. Then they took Grabenkin. Sorry, and then That and the Leafs traded Travis Dermott for a 3rd round pick, then traded down, and that 3rd round pick got to add the Grabenkin pick, and that's basically how they got it.
Okay,
Isn't that neat?
It is neat. If this kid wasn't coming off of playing in the KHL, out of sight, out of mind, if he wasn't drafted in the 5th round. A year after he was draft eligible, we'd be talking about him the way we talk about Matthew Nyes. Like, I think it's a very similar skill set. I said this all in the live show yesterday, but in case you don't have time to watch both, I think what happened is if you go and look at his MHL team, which is like junior for the KHL, if you go and look at the year the Leafs drafted him 22nd overall, sorry, they drafted him in the 5th round. They had, it was
Might have been 220.
2022. That's why I said 22nd. They had the 25th pick before they traded it to Chicago in the Mrazek deal, and they got 38 and got Minton. But knowing they were going to be picking in that range, they scouted that team, and Danila Yurov was on that team. He went 24th to Minnesota. I'm pointing at the producer's chair. You can tell Hayden's in today. And 44th overall, it was a guy, I can't remember his name, but he went to the Blackhawks.
Mm-hmm.
So the Leafs were like, okay, there's 2 gifted players who are going to be in and around that range for us. And I guess they saw Gurbenkin and they were like, this kid's pretty good.
Right.
That's just my theory. I don't know that that's true, but I'm assuming if you ask around, that'll be what we come up with.
Ryan Reeves called camp one of the 2 hardest days he's ever had at camp. And it wasn't second. So I guess
we love a soundbite, Ryan. Thank you.
It's a good soundbite.
Always good for a good quote.
Yep.
I also thought it was interesting. Luke Fox reported that in previous years you heard a lot of music at camp. No music.
Interesting.
Like during the rushes and that sort of thing. I guess under Keefe they could play music. Under Berube, it's hardcore focus.
No music.
Your uncle's gonna love it. Your uncle's gonna love that.
Is that gonna make a difference?
I don't know. I don't really know. It's probably he's a new coach and he wants them to hear him properly. Like Keefe was like, this is the same team as the last 2 years. I'm sure you know what I want. Let's play some tunes and get there.
For any other team in the NHL, if we were to hear that, we'd be like, that's stupid and unnecessary. Who gives a damn? For the Leafs, I'm like, good.
Any edge, please.
Good. Any edge. Like the last night, I think it was Jesse went, all right, how are we feeling about the team this year?
Oh.
And it's a room of like, how many people were there? 200?
Yeah.
It was bone chilling.
Malaise.
Like it wasn't booze. It wasn't cheers.
It was just yeah.
People let sound vaguely seep from their vocal cords.
Yeah.
Like it was, no one's stoked on this.
Mm-hmm.
Why should they?
Well, we're not getting into that.
I have a question for you. Off of the
First
Berube,
preseason game is why.
the Berube Keefe thing you're talking about.
Yeah.
The more we hear about like the end of Sheldon Keefe's tenure and now the beginning of Berube's tenure, do you guys think that towards the end of it, Keefe was kind of checked out?
I don't know if it was checked out. It's that so Babcock was bad cop. Keefe comes in and he's Mary Poppins. Like he is, everyone's just so stoked he's there and he's so positive. And where's your hometown, kid? I'm putting you in. Make sure you put up a big performance for Ma and Pa. And as the years went, they needed bad cop again. And the transition to bad cop just didn't work.
Right.
Like, I think
you can't come in as one and then become the other, is what you're saying?
I think it's easier to be bad cop and then be occasionally delightful
Right.
than it is to be good cop all the time and then put your foot down.
Right.
'Cause I think a lot of the time you get a little meh.
And Babcock was I don't think he was delightful in any
No, oh, you're just
no one's going to accuse him of ever being delightful.
across the board kind of mean.
Maybe checked out isn't the right word. Maybe it's more just content with how things. He had an inability to change anything. It seemed by the end of it, just whatever was happening at the time, whatever the players were at those moments. Sheldon Keefe couldn't do anything in his powers in terms of strategy or motivation or just anything. He couldn't do anything and change it.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it was.
Usually when a coach is on their way out the door, you see them have like a signature freak out because this is their last gasp. The freakouts that we saw with the Leafs at the end of Sheldon Keefe's tenure were the players yelling at each other because
it's not fucking Junior, bro.
Stop fucking crying, bro. It's not fucking Junior. Clear as day. And I mean, I'm sure Keefe said something along those lines 100 times before then walking it back immediately the next day.
Yeah.
Anyway, not getting too much into that,
right.
but like I just remember when he got fired, I was fully convinced he got it. He understood what ailed the Leafs, but like you said, he was powerless to change it.
He was like the Matthew McConaughey meme. He's looking through to his past self.
Oh yeah,
in the space movie.
Yeah.
No.
And he can't change it. No, it truly felt like he knew what was wrong, but he was powerless to change it.
Yeah. And now I filled out all my notes for the season preview for the Devils. I think he's going to really enjoy coaching that team. And I think Berube is going to be very tough. I think he's going to be very fair. And I also don't think he's going to have as much rope for bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Well, and again, we talk about it a lot, but sometimes the same person saying the same thing just falls on deaf ears, and you have a different person say the same thing. And you're like, you know what? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think even his video down at Lakeshore, like in front of the water, saying goodbye and everything, there was a sort of contentness with it. I'm going to float off into the sunset, into the ocean, because I've accomplished all that I can here.
Fairly well.
Jesse, can you bring up a picture of Craig Berube?
Sure, I can do that.
I thought you were going to say, can you bring up a picture of Sheldon Keefe in what looks like heaven?
No, not that.
Let me see a good one.
It's actually kind of funny that Keefe ended up with the Devils, because I think about the South Park movie. And Kenny's going to heaven, and and then he's like, and then he ends up in hell.
Little boy, you're going to hell.
That's kind of what happened with Keefe, right?
Think about it like that.
All right, let's have a look at Craig Berube. Tell me you're saying no to that guy. Tell me you're telling that guy to fuck off.
No,
you're not. And here's a guy that was a tough guy in the toughest era of the NHL. Like that.
Hayden, can you go closer?
Yeah. No, it's Jesse. That's all.
No, it's Jesse.
Hayden,
can you go closer anyway?
Not the mouth, Jesse. The eyebrows. It's the eyebrows. It's the look at the ridge.
No, like, it's the.
If that frowns at you, that's not fun.
There's not a lot of boxers have like weak jaws. Like he just looks hard to knock out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was his whole NHL career was, he was pretty hard to knock out.
Right.
Yeah, I think he'll command respect.
Yeah, I think that's the case. And a fun little story from camp, moving on from Craig Berube and his tough guy ways. I'm shutting the music off. Mm-hmm. Shutting the damn music off. We're going to focus and win the cup. Fun little story.
That'll help them win.
Pacioretty and Gabrankin have had Pontus Holmberg at center. This is according to Lance Hornby of the Toronto Sun. But Tavares will be moving in there tonight. And apparently Pacioretty has tried to have little off-ice conversations with Gabrankin because he doesn't have... Gabrankin doesn't speak much English. Mm-hmm. Pacioretty speaks a little Russian because his wife is the sister of Maxim Afinogenov.
Oh, I think I did know that.
I didn't know that.
Maxim Afinogenov. Yes, that's...
Sabres legend.
Sabres legend.
That's very random.
Isn't that random? I just thought
I didn't know that. Yeah.
So, say that one more time.
So I guess Pacioretty has tried to speak to Gabrankin off the ice a little bit, and you've seen this with the Flyers with is it Kosalov, who is not reporting to camp because Kolosov. That's it.
Yeah.
Not reporting to camp because they don't know why, but maybe the Russian factor, the language barrier, might be part of the reason, and they're talking about that with Michkov as well. Although he's reported. You can be very lonely if you're here and you don't speak the language. So Pacioretty's trying to speak English to him Russian to him because he knows a little because Maxim Afinogenov is his brother-in-law.
First of all, that's wild. Second of all, I don't think people properly appreciate how important Nick Antropov is to this organization.
Yeah.
He's native Kazakh, but he speaks Russian.
Sure.
And, at any given time, there haven't been more than 2 Russians on the roster for quite a while.
Yep.
And he's always been there. I was told he was a big part of whatever that few weeks was or that month where Ilya Samsonov disappeared.
Yep.
Antropov was a huge part of rebuilding him. And
well, I think we could talk about what we heard at the Easter Seals tournament last year.
Yeah, at the Easter Seals tournament. So he was a draftable celebrity. Every year we do this Lindros tournament where all the 15 ish NHL alumni show up, and you can draft them, and they hang out with you all day, and they can be on your team.
Tell great stories, that kind of thing.
Tell great stories. Yeah, Antropov was one of the draftable celebrities, and he got like a ping on his phone that night, like, we actually need you tomorrow. And so you draft them at night, and then the next day you play the games, and he's like, I can't play the games, but I'll talk to you tonight and tell you some stories.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
There's nothing
because he was called away to rebuild Ilya Samsonov.
Yeah, and he's in the tournament every year.
Yeah,
right.
But he was,
and it's never an issue.
They brought him in to directly talk to Ilya Samsonov. That's the key.
Yeah, and Samsonov, whose English was never the strongest,
right?
Which is part of the reason why his quotes were always so great.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the organization needs that guy bad.
Yeah.